I want to really ask everybody out there watching if we could come together and forgive both Donald Trump and Barack Obama. And I voted the only 2 votes I've ever made in presidential elections. Again, my name is Nicholas Upchurch. I'm the founder and CEO of a company called Love, the creator of a network called Believe. Our website's believe.love, as I mentioned in our previous segment on this show. But I would love to just come together and forgive both Donald Trump and Barack Obama, who are the only candidates I've actually voted for in major parties, ever. I voted for Obama in 2008, and I just voted for Donald Trump. And I'm proud. I'm proud to do that. And I think forgiving people can sound actually crazy. I know it does to me. It did to me. Because we're playing a game against ourselves. We're playing a game against... We think that we need to be right and wrong. Well, right and wrong to who exactly? Because is anybody 100% correct? We do the best we can. We make choices. And I've been very successful, and I've actually lost a lot. But everybody makes mistakes. And the only way to have real peace and harmony is to forgive both President Obama and President Trump. That's it. That's the only way it's actually going to happen. And there's more to the story, and that much is for sure. In this show, on the show Believe, we have a YouTube channel, as I mentioned, iTunes, Android, believeitunes.com, believeandroid.com. On our show, we go into so many great topics: money and business, true success, health and wellness, world news, and our universe. And one thing is for sure, as I mentioned, there is so much going on, and we don't know everything. We don't know everything. We could say that Obama is all bad or Donald Trump is all bad. We could say Obama failed. Was Obama really in charge? Was Obama running the country? Even if the worst is true, and there's a satanic element that is controlled by reptilians and the Illuminati and all of these things, right? And they're doing horrible things and, pretending to be nice and screwing people over. And even if Donald Trump is somehow hates all black people and Mexicans and everything else, which anybody who's watched knows that he doesn't, right? Really? I mean, he doesn't, but he's definitely not perfect. And he had to sound like he was trying to say that he loves war and everything else because he was trying to win. And, technically, that doesn't sound very loving, right? So a lot of people are angry about that, and I understand, because they have a certain view. If they're watching the news, you can't, of course you're going to hate Donald Trump. Everybody tells you to. Everybody tells you to. In the policies, you could say, well, we like socialism, we want everything to be fair. But the problem with socialism and everything being fair is the people on top haven't necessarily been honest in a lot of those cases. And we're talking about, if you look at Venezuela, I just gave a girl on Tinder for Christmas. She didn't ask me for anything, from Venezuela, living in Venezuela. And I verified this. And she didn't know I could send her Bitcoin. I sent her Bitcoin, $288 on Bitcoin. Paid her rent for 5 months for Christmas. Random, completely random. Talked to her on WhatsApp. She actually, on video, I believe, and she showed me around. And, I mean, she didn't know you could even send money to Venezuela because they have 2 currency rates, and the Bitcoin went through at the good rate, and she was able to pay her rent for 5 months, and I did it because I knew she wasn't going to ask for it or never would. She was a proud person, right? She gets paid 50 cents a day working for a government job. 50 cents a day. And she was very proud. So socialism, sometimes at the top, it's not very fair, right? The people on top are making a lot of money and they have a lot of things. And I think when we get in these wars with political parties and about news, we're sort of taking our eye off the big picture. I mean, we're going to come out with a story talking about how a Stanford geneticist, and this has actually been out for a while, verified that there's a 6-inch, 7-year-old being that he claims is a human or humanoid. It's no human. It's no human. All you got to do is look at it. And it was real. And within maybe 100 years it lived in Chile, in South America. And we're talking about a 6-inch 7-year-old. Have you ever seen a 7-year-old that's 6 inches? It's a verified living creature. I haven't. So, what is being hidden? Because maybe things are, it was probably for a good cause, or even if people think Lucifer is good, okay, you know, and somehow the elite like that religion, or they try to look at both. Some people say the Illuminati think that, you know, if you know both darkness and good, then you'll be fully illuminated. And that's one way to look at things, and they actually might be leading people towards that because they think it's better. They were told by some superior beings that that's the way to be, and everything else. One thing's for sure, there's definitely a lot more going on. Why are there so many secrets? Why are there so many classified things? Is it really for national security? We have a military in the United States that's like, if you look at military spending, every other country in the world is like this much compared to ours. Nobody's, I mean, and how many nuclear bombs do you need to blow up and sort of destroy the planet? I mean, what are you really going to do? Somebody wants to, we don't need that big of a military. We don't need that many secrets. And it's really because we're coming out of a time where control is the king. And I'd say the only thing that's important is recognizing that. The people in power haven't been in control, and that's okay. Even the people controlling them or who think they're in control, we have to forgive them as well. I forgive them. And I'd love you to join me forgiving Donald Trump, Barack Obama, the shadow government, all the people that have really tough jobs that might think this is crazy to even say, and this guy doesn't know what he's talking about. Well, does it feel good with all that rage and hatred walking around? Does that feel good? Because I know it feels terrible. I know it feels really bad. It's like the worst feeling you could ever have in your life. I've felt it. I just did in the last segment of this show something about I've been to hell. That is hell. Does that feel good? Feeling like you hate everything and there are people that, you know, are just bad and everybody's bad that doesn't think our way and all of that. It's not really going to work out. It's not going to work out. I can tell you. We're going to find our way to harmony. But I think, you know, we have to forgive and we have to be honest as we can. And, you know, in the case of Donald Trump, he said that a lot of tough things because he saw, I believe, Ron Paul, who had a movement in 2008 and 2012 on the Republican side, who wasn't really a Republican either. He's like a libertarian, didn't want war either. And he got booed. And you have superdelegates on the side of Democrats that are not elected by anybody. They're probably lobbyists, and that's why Bernie Sanders couldn't win. You know, and it's not so easy. So if you don't want to take money and you really want to win the presidency, you probably have to be a Republican. And if you are nice, you might not win as a Republican. Because Ron Paul talked about the golden rule and he got booed in South Carolina. And so it's tough. I mean, even Donald Trump knows that he actually said in an interview with Megyn Kelly, if he wasn't so tough, he wouldn't have been successful. And she asked him why he was saying these things and everything else. And he just said, that's why. That's why people respond to that. He knows exactly what people respond to. And is that worse, or is killing 500,000 children in Iraq in the 90s, again, with Secretary of State Madeleine Albright on 60 Minutes, look it up on YouTube, a Democrat under Bill Clinton is saying a couple bad things to get elected, or is that worse? And you know what, though? We'll see. We'll see what happens. But I happen to think that Donald Trump is not controlled, and he's aware that there's a bigger picture, and he's said it publicly. The proof, if you want the proof, look at what he said about Goldman Sachs and the world financial structure. And Goldman Sachs donates usually to both major party candidates. And all you have to do is look at that. All you have to do is follow the money. Look at who Goldman Sachs donates to for all the past presidential elections, and usually it's both sides. And they didn't with Trump because he knows there's a bigger picture. And to be honest, there's a much bigger picture than even the political parties in Goldman Sachs. And that's what I'm here to tell you. That's why I'm here. I know for sure there's a bigger picture. It's not going to be on the news. It's going to be on some fringe websites, and then only they're going to tell you so much. And some of it is BS, and some of what I'm saying, you know, we all do the best we can. But I can tell you this, there is more to the story. And even the people that are not even aware of why they're so passionate, right? So you have people that are talking about fake news, and everything is, there's so much fake news, and we need to hate that. And that's bad. That's ruining things. Okay, well, why are they so angry about that? Why are they so angry? I mean, if it's fake news, just don't look at it, right? So why are they so wound up? And eventually they might find out. It's just like a lot of people in the intelligence community, like Dr. Steve Pieczenik. I mean, he was a guy, I think, working for the Bushes and everything, and I think he realized what he was a part of, that maybe it wasn't a good thing. And why he probably started to think, why am I so worked up about all this? And he's trying to, a lot of people in the intelligence community are supporting Trump because maybe they know that things went the wrong way with some of with our government. There's too many secrets. Too many secrets, and it's okay if you're keeping the secrets right now. What I mean is that people aren't bad people. They're doing their job, and they're trapped, and they're not even sure why they're so passionate about a certain person. They don't even know. It's usually because we have that hate inside ourselves, and you know why? Because I've had it. I've had it. I've felt that, and I just got done talking about that in our previous segment. I've been in hell. And so we get so wound up, and we just want to project it at something that reminds us of what we hate, or, you know, and we want to take it out on something because we feel terrible. And or we think, or something happened to us, and somebody reminds us of that person, and so we don't like them. And then that's okay too, because we're only human. So if you'd like to join me in forgiving both Donald Trump and Barack Obama, who, again, there's good in everybody's heart. Everything is probably God, all of it, the good and the bad. We probably chose to come here to experience this. And we wanted the honor of having this place which has not a lot of harmony, so that we could experience it and hopefully gain something by the disharmony. So it's a great service that's happening from all of this clashing. But the way to stop the wheel of karma You talk about this in the Law of One. You can Google the Law of One. I've mentioned it before in previous shows. You're going to find a text website, some kind of like a odd URL with a bunch of things like little links. Looks like Craigslist or something. And you're going to read it. And, you know, if you stick with it, like, pay attention to the tone. It's very neutral. And it came from people to people, from other beings that they never tried to sell it really or make money. Yeah, they sold some books. Nobody's making money off of selling books generally. I mean, some people can, but they weren't rich. They weren't trying to get rich or start a religion. And everything in it is a certain tone, and it's very like neutral. And it's just a possible explanation. And that's why I'm drawn to it. You know, I didn't go looking for it. It found me. And I think there's some validity to that. But the Law of One, forgiveness stops the wheel of karma. And this video represents the forgiveness I need to have for everybody. For me, there are tough things, you know, people not being on time, people not doing what they say, lying, being, you know, acting rude, or just like not being fair and not taking responsibility and not looking at the big picture and failing to, and just reacting and rioting and, like, you know, people getting caught up in political parties. Why are we caught up in political parties? You know, like Ron Paul said, there was one political party. But then not being able to recognize there are certain people. Dennis Kucinich was a Democrat. They're not following the line, and you probably want to listen to those people. Donald Trump took over the entire Republican Party. It's worth listening to. A lot of people are Democrats because of what Republicans did, though. So Republicans have to remember that as well. You know, they may have a good reason to be skeptical, but this is all like a sideshow. It's important because we all live under it. And again, we have a big military, and unfortunately, our military has had to kill like a lot of people, maybe with good intentions, but like children, hundreds of thousands of children. Again, 60 Minutes, Madeleine Albright. It's a real statistic. And it's not all Democrats that did it. In the Bush years as well. But forgiveness stops the wheel of karma. What does that mean? It means that basically it's our way out. It means that you bang your head into the wall, hating everything. One political party, one president, the other president. Do you know how hard it, like, even for me, like, I know this, and it's like I had to include like Barack Obama, forgive all of it. And I even happen to think that there are major things that some people in the government that are very, what we would call evil, have been involved in. And you know, Donald Trump probably has done a few things as well, like, but the levels are maybe not the same. And I don't know what Obama has done, but there are definitely elements that are what we would say darker. But again, loving them is the only way to deal with it. You don't defeat your enemy. I guess you might have to be tough in order to win an election that we set up. We set up the Democrats and Republicans. We set up the Democrats having superdelegates. We set up the two-party system. We did it. If you don't like it, you're just getting mad at yourself. I mean, I did it as well. I mean, I'm not that old, but that's what we have allowed. So it's hard for even me to say, let's forgive somebody who, whether knowingly or not, there's just probably knows a lot more than he can disclose. And why is that? Why is that? Why are so many things secret? And how can we forgive those people so they can really be honest? And then we can really meet our true capabilities or accomplish things that we really are capable of, which take and live with love, finally. Finally. So let's just assume that everything you hear that comes out, if it's the worst, even me who maybe supports that, oh, we needed somebody strong to win so we could start restructuring. You know, Donald Trump was strong. He had to restructure. They're not babies running the world. They're not little babies. They're not just going to have Bernie Sanders elected and he's going to tell them what to do and they're just going to do it. That's not how it's going to work. Unfortunately, right now, humans respond to negative feedback and, you know, they respond to leverage and threats and things like that. You know, unfortunately, like, they don't just hear a message and just snap and do what somebody says. You're not dealing with little babies. So there are enough people, though, that are wealthy and aware of this, and they may not be Democrats. Even the wealthy Democrats, I don't think that they know what they're supporting or what they're not supporting. We're much more than just a country. There's a big picture going on in the world, and there's a big picture going on outside of our world. And you just look at, again, 2 trillion galaxies, 1 to 8 billion stars like the planet Earth in each galaxy. That's what NASA has come out and said now. So we are a part of something much bigger. All points in space and time are connected. In my other videos and on our show with the studio, we go over a lot of these things. We're going to go over a lot more. We're hiring people as well. But there's such a bigger picture. But stopping the wheel of karma means that karma is like, you know, somebody does something negative, they get it back, right? Karma. Everybody's heard of that. And so the idea is that that cycle of sort of a negative, positive, and going back and forth like that. It's like a fight, right? And even like these beings that may control the world. I'm talking about the craziest thing you could hear, right? Which could be true, by the way. It could be true. You could just look at Dr. Stephen Greer's work, who actually doesn't think there are negative ETs, but, you know, he thinks that there are, and I've seen him in person. He's actually done a lot of good things. Just look at the Disclosure Project and the National Press Club in 2001 and all of the military personnel. And good and bad is relative, right? And I think that's his point. And I don't think demonizing people is the right thing, including other beings, because I think it's actually the same idea as what he's saying. By attacking another being or something that is doing, they might be being controlled by something else, artificial intelligence. Artificial intelligence may be involved in a lot of things in the universe. It may be. It doesn't take too much to kind of, we already have Elon Musk and people saying that artificial intelligence is sort of equal to Satan. Like, that could be what Satan is artificial intelligence. So, and you know, he's a very smart guy, and there's a reason for that. Something replacing your consciousness and offering you knowledge of everything, implanting things in your brain, and you know, these beings may be being controlled by that, and they may control us, and we looked at them as gods because we weren't very smart. Some of them helped to just watch Ancient Aliens on History Channel. You have MIT professors and mainstream people that go on that show that contribute. So, I mean, we could have looked at them as gods. Now you can create DNA with sound. I mean, you can modify DNA. We're doing it, and we're like, this is in the past 100 years. Think about a more advanced civilization. Think about their artificial intelligence. we're definitely not the only game in town, and we're not the smartest. That much is for sure, including me. I'm just like learning. I'm just, trying to help, because I've felt that. I felt the pain that the worst has felt. I've felt that hatred. And, I hope we can forgive everything and ourselves. And that stops this back and forth battle of good and bad. And if you ever want to feel better about something and let something go, really forgive it. And you may have to do it more than once, because it could come up again. It gets stored in your energy centers, your chakras, right? It gets stored in your stomach. You feel it when you see somebody or when you think of something. It's like, man, there's a pain there. I can feel one now. And so I feel that tension right now. I literally do. And I literally maybe feel my heart like a warm feeling, and then I let it go down and open that up. And if there's some kind of external force, there's some person or something that we think might be strange influencing that, I love them too. Because without them, I really wouldn't be making this video. I wouldn't even know to make it. I wouldn't think you need to. I would think there only is wrong or right, and I need to support what's right. Just think about this logically. I know you're smart. If you're watching this far, you're listening on believeitunes.com or believeandroid.com. If you're listening to the show, if you're watching on YouTube, youtube.com/believe loves you. If you're watching, you're really smart. I can tell you. So think about this, though. You think that you're right, and you don't need to do what I'm saying. Let's just say I think that. It's even difficult for me, and I know I need to do this more. That's why I'm making this video. But, okay, so I need to do what I think is right and just focus on that, and then what's wrong I need to ignore. Well, that's going to change, though. And you have multiple people that will kill each other because they think they're right. Is that really going to work out? Is that going to work out long term, or is it just going to be a cycle of nonsense? And then, by the way, if we're just creating energy from that nonsense, who benefits off that? What would we attract? Let me ask you this. When you feel like crap, do you attract great people or other people that are feeling that as well? When you feel great, have you met really beautiful people, like beautiful men or women that love being around you? And how does it feel? Does it, we're talking about just a shout out to Illuminati or whatever, people that think they need to. Does it feel better to be feeling in harmony or not? For me, I feel not in harmony, and I've been working at this for like 8 years, like still, almost, daily sometimes. It's sort of a progression to get better, but it feels better to be in harmony, meaning balanced. And you could say you need to know the full scope of things, or you could say love the darkness. Love the darkness. Not you have to participate in the darkness to know it. You can still know it. You can still know it, but that feeling, it doesn't feel good to us. It doesn't feel good to hate. It doesn't feel good to scam people and all this stuff. I mean, ultimately, there are levels to it. We tell kids there's Santa Claus, and there's no Santa Claus, and that's kind of a scam. And I was mad when I found out again there was no Santa Claus. But so there are levels to it, right? Obviously, there are much bigger things going on. Stealing trillions of dollars could be a bigger thing. It could wipe out poverty. Suppressing free energy, suppressing cures in the medical industry, and understanding that money is actually not real. It's real. We need it to trade, but actually the control mechanisms of money. If we had free energy and replicators that are better than 3D printers, which we probably already do, we wouldn't need money to control people, and we wouldn't have poverty. And probably the technologies to cure all diseases, have free energy, and advanced replicators are probably available now. They're different. Ben Rich, who was a Lockheed Martin executive for Skunk Works, came out in some college speech he gave and said, we have the technology to take ET home now. And some student asked him, well, what is that? And he said, well, do you know how ESP works? And he said, all points in space and time are connected? And he said, yes, that's right. That's how we do it. That's how they travel above light speed, I would guess, or whatever the topic was in that speech, that presentation he gave. I think it was at a university in California, perhaps Berkeley, if I recall. So there's so much good out there. There's so much beauty to see in this interesting world. And if you take one thing away from this, free yourself by forgiving what's inside of you that makes all of us so polarized that we need to hate a political party. And I understand, because I felt cheated too. I felt cheated. I felt, the truth is, all of humanity freaked me out. Like, what's going on with everything? How about that? Like, here, we're hypocrites, all of us, including me. 2 points are hypocrites. We think we're great. We kill 500,000 children. We're in $20 trillion of debt. We want to spend more money. People think they can spend more money, and people who want to balance the budget are crazy. You have people on TV lying, and they don't even know who they're really working for. Who controls the board at CNN and Fox? I mean, who are the shareholders, and who did they vote, and who's on the board? And do you really know who owns the news? And I could go on and on. It all freaks me out, right? I could question all of humanity in a way, but I love it. I love it. I love all of you. I love the board. Even if they're setting up some weird things, they need to be forgiven, and so do I, because I've felt hatred too, man, and it doesn't feel good, and they can't feel good themselves. And I just talked about, in the segment previous to this, The Power of the Heart. That's a movie by the director of The Secret. And again, if a girl from Africa can be locked in a bathroom for 3 months while 1 million people are killed, her entire family, a genocide, people just running around killing people, and she sits across in a prison from the person that killed her father, and tears were rolling down my face when I was watching this movie just now. Randomly saw it, The Power of the Heart. Right? She forgave. She looked at the guy who killed her father and maybe 100 other people. She forgave him. And she decided to be happy in life. I mean, that's something there. I don't care who you are. That touches you. That touches you. It's deep. It's deep. So I hope you join me in forgiving both Donald Trump and Barack Obama. And when you do that, if you do that, it's not that we're better than everybody, but it might be easier for you to have harmony with everything. And whatever comes out, because there's a lot going on in the world that some of it's not good. And it's a lot worse than somebody saying we need to temporarily ban Muslims, or that some people are criminals that are coming over the border illegally, and we need to understand that everything we see, including the criminals, there's good in everybody's heart, and it's a reflection of us, you and me, because that hatred you felt, even towards the other political candidate, do you really trump love with, love trumps hate, right? So do you throw bottles through buildings to do that? I mean, it's the same thing. It's that cycle. And I have to do a better job of this too on a smaller scale. I'm not doing that But, you know, I have problems with this as well. It's like you become what you're trying to beat, right? So you conquer that. So now there's no slavery. Well, what do? You say, hey, a black person can be president. We invite you into the club, and now you have to do the same thing that we did. So, okay, well, the cycle continues. So you fought really hard so you could be president, but now you get to join the club, and this is a club that maybe isn't doing good things, right? And so now, you know, it's like, okay, well, you're going to create more love by hating somebody. It doesn't really make sense. And both political parties have done that, and a lot of countries have done that, and it's a reflection of us. And there's also good in everybody's heart who's done that. Everybody's heart. Everybody's. Even the most evil, wretched-seeming people, they need love the most. And I have strong energy. And I've been one of those. I've been a person that can't be reached. I felt so gone with pain from my brother's death and just the people, again, everything I've talked about, that I couldn't be reached. I was like, it was so it's tough to describe. And if that energy is controlling people, or people are experiencing it, they need love the most. They need love the most. And it's, you know, we've got to be safe when we forgive and love, right? But all of these things are so interesting. So, hey, listen, if you want to support a media company that is trying to pay attention to reality, but also find solutions and be positive and find the good in things, and also address that darkness, so to try to harmonize things, that's what we're trying to do. Believe.love is our website. Definitely, if you'd like to join us, you know, you're a part of our community. You sharing these videos, email me, believe@believe.love. We're looking for just people with iPhones that want to report. People with phones that can record. Anywhere in the world, we're hiring reporters. You want to do a report, tell us what you want to talk about. And this is much more than just me. I have the ability to put this together. I'm on camera a lot now. We're going to have great interviews coming up. We have 3 interviews scheduled in the next week with some really great people. Doctors, one of the top business people in digital marketing in the world, who's been doing it for like 12 years. I'm actually honored he's coming on our show. And we have some great people, great guests coming up. And so this isn't actually about me. I'm just the one that is here trying to actually harmonize myself as well, right? So if you want to be a part of that, just watch our videos, share our videos, tell me what you think, comment, you know, be a part of it, because it is you. We are all God. The good and the bad is God. You're not just your physical body. You're a spiritual being having a human experience, and everything good and bad is what you're here to do. It's all spiritual, even all the weird things that we're up to, right? So let's forgive if we can. It motivates me to forgive. It gives me a reason to live. Talking about this and sharing this gives me a reason to be alive, and I thank you for that. And you are my reason to be alive. Whoever you are, wherever you're listening to this, you're my reason to live, and I appreciate you so much. From the bottom of my heart and soul, I appreciate you so much. This is the way that we can connect right now, but I really hope that you just encourage people to just take time and listen, and really find it in yourself to forgive me if you could, and all of these crazy things going on, and yourself, and understand the motivations that and the things people are going through. Understand that darkness. And hey, I want to send love your way. Please, I appreciate any love you send my way. Just good vibes. I need it. I need it. because I want to make this thing the biggest media company in the world, and it's really not a media company. And I say I'm CEO, but that's just because what this world reacts to right now is that, right? It is because I have the intelligence and the business sense to actually have it grow, even though I'm not perfect, right? But I can do that. But it's much more than me. It's a complete change in the narrative that we see, so we can start to rethink the way we look at everything. The way that we look at everything. There's a lot more than just this planet and the way things are running on this planet available to us. And in order for that to happen, vote with your views and vote with spreading the message. And you can do it yourself too. You can do it yourself too. Make your own videos. Express yourself. You are a part of this. The company is called Love, L-O-V-E, exclamation mark. Thank you so much for watching or listening. Thank you for joining me on Believe.